let's talk about that final FBS matchup. That is Florida International FIU at Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech is a 11-point favorite at time of recording with an over-under of 58.5. Game kicks off at 9 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. This is the kind of game I live for. The CBS Sports Network late kick. There may be, 6,000 people in attendance. They're playing this one at Joe Elliott Stadium in Ruston. If I pronounce that wrong, I'm very sorry. I actually like the stadium a lot. It's one that I have visited. Ruston's interesting, but the stadium itself is very nice. Really good thing this game's being played at 9 p.m. 105 is the forecast high in Ruston, Louisiana that day. We are still going to be talking about in the high 90s, maybe even still with the heat index of 100 when we're talking about 8 p.m. local for this game. So keep that in the back of your head. We will revisit it in a minute. Louisiana Tech's backfield is pretty banged up. They're starting running back Marquise Crosby. He will not play. He's injured. Backup Tyree Shelton, who would, I'm sure, shoulder most of the load. He is also questionable. Louisiana Tech took most of the money in this one through the preseason. It did move through 10 points, which is slightly notable. It even moved Monday when we're recording from 10 to 11 points. Now, Louisiana Tech likes to run a super up-tempo offense from Sonny Cumbie, air raid system. So if you're talking about the temperature still being in the mid to high 90s during the game, this could be an issue with conditioning. And FIU comes from the Miami area, and they're used to heat and humidity and stuff like that. And I'm not saying Louisiana Tech's not. They certainly are. But when you get to a certain threshold, the human body literally cannot handle that kind of stuff, especially at the up-tempo pace that Louisiana Tech wants to play. So something to just keep in mind maybe is a live second-half spread if we're dealing with FIU, if it looks like Louisiana Tech's kind of sucking some wind. But the Bulldogs do add quarterback Hank Buckmeyer, who I maintain is pretty decent at Boise. Kind of transferred out because his coach left, not because he was terrible. He does have his moments, though. But he does now play down to Conference USA and has a pretty good wide receiver room. Louisiana Tech's defense is projected to be, awful, but they do have a pretty solid secondary, I believe. And if you're looking at the totals, considering the total 58.5 sits under key number 59, which is the fourth most frequent total in the last 5 years, but it is above the eighth most, or 58, which is the eighth most. So if you can look to see if you can hit that 58 or lower, I don't think the under is going to be a really exciting bet in this, so I don't think it's going to move. But I would probably buy the over at that point in the game. What do your numbers say about this just dynamic matchup?
Yeah, Brett, another Conference USA game to wrap up FBS play in Week 0 on CBS Sports Network. This is my number one sicko game of the week. We've got a K Ford projected game rating here of a 25, which is slightly worse than the 26 of UMass New Mexico State that we talked about earlier. So I have Louisiana Tech as the number 3 team in Conference USA with a 31% chance to reach the conference championship game. And they get to ease into the season with a home game here against FIU. Louisiana Tech power rated for me, number 101. The offense is projecting as number 70 nationally. That's number 2 in the conference behind only Western. The defense, on the other hand, I think I mentioned it earlier, currently projecting absolute dead last in FBS, 133 out of 133. So while Western and Liberty are the 2 overwhelming favorites in the conference by my numbers at this point, if the defense can just not be terrible, if the defense can be better than 100 nationally, this team could challenge for a spot in the conference championship game. I do believe that. FIU, on the other hand, power rated number 132, second worst in the FBS ahead of only UMass. Offense is number 117. Defense is a dreadful 131 ahead of only Jacksonville State and Louisiana Tech. We're talking about a lot of these teams at the bottom here in Week 0. That's why we've got this sicko theme going on. It is a sicko game. I'm excited about it, though. College football's here. We're back. I like Louisiana Tech by 14.5, so I can understand why that line's moving and why it's crossed over some numbers, because I like Tech by 14.5. I mean, you're at 11, which is what you said it is right now. Like that's a significant, that I think there's significant value in that just for the important number standpoint and what you're crossing and all of that. If you were able to get it when it was down at 10 even, I mean, that's even better. But anyway, 14.5, that equates to an 85% win expectancy for Louisiana Tech. I expect them to roll here in Week 0 in their first game before heading to SMU in a tough one next week.
Completely anecdotal, no data driven, but how Louisiana Tech would it be to lose this game? They lost it in double overtime last year. They lost to Rice in overtime. They lost Charlotte.
Go for it.
You have to win the game if you're going to get to the Conference USA Championship. You have to win this game. As remedial as it may sound, like, do you drop this opening week 0 game because it's hot and you're sucking wind, and they run you down all of a sudden? You're starting 0-1 in conference, and boy, that 31% sure isn't going to hold at 31% if they drop this game.
No, without a doubt. And to be clear, Western Kentucky's got a 73% chance to make the conference championship. Liberty's got a 53% chance. So they are the significant favorites. I'm saying if the defense can be better than I'm projecting, which they could be, because there's a lot of unknowns with this defense here and things that I'm trying to figure out, and you're projected dead last. They can't be worse than I'm projecting. Can you be significantly better? If so, you'll put yourself in the mix there. Because I do have, we get Western at home. I'm making that about a 3.5 point game right now. And you get Liberty, that's on the road, making that about 5 points. So you're not way behind these teams from a power rating standpoint. If the defense can be much better than I'm expecting, you really close that gap. You close it quickly. If disaster strikes and they find a way to lose this game, then yeah, all of a sudden you go from a 78% chance to make a bowl to probably closer to 50-50 at that point, because now your power rating is going to take a hit, and you've just lost the game on your schedule that if you're going to just go by projected spreads, chalk them up to wins. There's only one game on the entire schedule where I have a bigger projected spread that Louisiana Tech as a favorite, and that's in week 2, their third game of the year. Northwestern State, an FCS team, comes to Louisiana Tech. This is the game that you need to get if you're Louisiana Tech, if you're serious about, competing in the conference. And if you don't, now we're looking at, are you serious about a bowl is where we are, because this team won 3 games last year. I'm fully expecting them to bounce back and be one of the biggest turnarounds in terms of win-loss improvement from year over year. Actually, that let me look really quickly at that, because I do post that. Projected to win more in 2023. I didn't even look at it until right now. Louisiana Tech, this is the power of the website, dude. It's all on there. Louisiana Tech is the number 2 team of all the teams in FBS that I'm projecting to see the largest win in increase from last year's regular season win total to this year's projected regular season win total. 3.6 more wins are projected this year than they experienced last year, second only in the country to UCF's 3.7. So there you go, Louisiana Tech. I'm expecting a big bounce back. You lose this one, that all goes away very quickly.